going to begin. So go ahead and come to mountain pose. Just make your way up to the top of your mat. We'll just take a few moments to continue to prepare for our practice, arriving in the space, taking the time to settle in and be here. You might start with just some slow, steady breaths just to get reacquainted with your breathing. And of course, breath being the foundation of our practice. So it's important, I believe, to start here, grounding ourselves, connecting to this source of energy, an energy that not only helps us to move, but also brings us to this calm and stillness. As you continue to bring more awareness to the breath, you might find yourself just breathing a little louder, just turning up the volume of your breath so you can hear your breath. You might even slow down the pace of your breath a bit. And notice how your body is responding to your breath. So you might feel breath rising upward and filling up your lungs, having this nice expansion and opening in the upper body. It might even help you to lengthen your spine and stand a little taller. And when you exhale, it's this connection to center. As you feel the air expel, noticing how navel draws in towards spine with a little bit of effort, that light contraction of your abdominal muscles. We call that the abdominal lock, or Uddiyana Bandha. So just continue to be in this moment with breath. Call this class Extend Your Extensions. So we are going to be doing some extensions today of various forms. Really a way to kind of not only connect to our bodies, but really open ourselves up. Especially if there's parts of the body that feel constricted or confined. Let's take 3 more slow, steady breaths, preparing your body to move. When you're ready, inhale and extend your arms overhead and just treat it like a nice stretch. Reach all the way up. And exhale, we'll fold forward, so a good hinge from your hips. You might bend your knees as you guide your way down. And inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees and extend your spine. Even feel like you're coming forward to feel that full extension. Exhale, it's fold. We'll hold this forward fold for a few breaths so you can experience new sensations in the body. Keep that awareness of breath. But notice how your body now responds to breath in this new posture. Even with knees soft here, feeling a stretch and lengthening through the backs of your legs, we will have some focus on our hamstrings today. The curvature of the spine, even the heaviness of the upper body as gravity draws you downward. Even check in with your shoulders. A little circle or movement of the shoulders, same with the head, just releasing. Let's prepare to stand. So just shift your weight back into your heels, bend your knees, feeling like you're going to sit down. Look forward, that should extend your spine, yes. And take your arms out to the side, perfect. And reach up into the air, another nice stretch. Exhale, you can bring your palms together and down to your heart. Maybe just breathe into your heart space a couple times. Let's go through that same half salute sequence. Just making it flow, going at your own pace. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Another good stretch. Exhale at swan dive forward, again with a good softness or bend in the knees. Making your way down, you might touch your toes. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees, extending the spine, long, flat back. There we are. Exhale, back down we go. Maybe all the way down as best as you can, that complete release. And then a weight shift back into your heels, bend your knees. Look forward, spread your wings, and inhale, just float your way back up. Exhale, hands together and down to your heart. Another pause here. Just keep tuning into breath. Just as a reminder, this is your practice, so move as you need to, modify, use variations, even choose different poses as needed. Here we go. Let's inhale, sweep the arms out and up. And exhale, swan dive forward. Just going through our sun salutation. Inhale, extending the spine, halfway up, lifting. As we exhale, we fold, bend, get low enough to place your hands on your mat and just step back into plank pose, a high push-up position here. We'll breathe in. And you exhale, a softness in the knees to send hips up into the air, our shortcut to downward facing dog. Just settle into the space, arriving in this inverted posture. And feel free to pedal the feet here if you'd like to get a stretch and lengthening in your calves. Stretch and opening through your toes, between your toes, the soles of your feet. There you go. A little bend of the knees, a little hip shift left and right. And again, we'll prepare our bodies to move. So a nice full breath in, maybe filling up your lungs as you're able. Exhale, draw belly in, bend your knees, walk, step, or even hop. Both feet up to the top of the mat to your forward fold. Inhale, extending through the spine. Exhale, back down we go. And our weight shift into the heels, bend your knees. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Coming up, reaching high. Exhale, we're going right into chair pose, Utkatasana. Keeping a high seat if you'd like, or sitting down a little lower. We're going to breathe in, getting ready to move, extending out through the arms a bit more. And exhale, diving forward, back down towards toes. Or inhale to lift halfway, or feel that nicely extended spine. Exhale, fold and bend. Hands to the mat, walk, step, or hop. Both feet back into plank pose. You can do that same shortcut to down dog right here, or with an exhale, bend elbows, squeeze them in towards your ribs, and lower yourself down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Yeah, perfect to bring knees to the floor first if you'd like, then chest. For a back bend, it might just be a low cobra or locust, or even upward facing dog. You exhale, tuck toes, lift your knees and your hips right into the air. And just notice, especially with this softness in the knees, bend the knees a little and just see if you can send your hips up and back a little higher while your hands root more firmly into the floor. That will extend the spine a bit more. Let's move from here. Inhale, extend your right leg up behind you, reaching for the wall. Good. Exhale, bring right foot up to the top of the mat, stepping through. Landing there. Left heel will turn to the floor. Nice balance. Lengthening through the spine so you can easily hinge from hips as you rise up, reaching into the air. Yes, warrior one. Exhale, hinge and fold. As you bring your hands back down to the floor, step back, plank pose. Complete your series as you'd like. A variation of Chaturanga, maybe bringing knees to the floor, then chest. Inhale, upward facing dog, or just some mild back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Settling in, arriving, making any quick adjustments. That same bending of the knees slightly to send hips up and back. Just feeling yourself getting a little longer as best as you can. Now our inhale to extend left leg up into the air, reaching for your back wall. Exhale, stepping through, landing at the top of the mat or near left hand. Right heel turns to the floor. There you go. Hinging from hips, rising up. Here we are, warrior one, reaching into the sky. Nice opening there. Exhale, hinge and fold. Bring the hands back down to the ground. And step back, plank pose. Complete the series as you'd like. Same shortcut to down dog is appropriate. Meeting there. And then we're going to take a seat. So you can just kneel down, sit back briefly in hero pose, sit off to the side. You can swing the legs around to the front. Make sure you're sitting in the center of your mat. Use any padding if you need it, and then roll down onto your back, drawing knees to chest. Let's just hold there for a few seconds. So you can do a little movement here if it feels good, massaging your back. And then eventually setting your feet on the floor, knees bent, preparing for bridge pose. Whenever you're ready, and inhale, really fill up the lungs. Good expansion there. Exhale, engaging your core center. And then lifting hips up into the air. And of course, you can use your hands to help lift yourself up, even hold yourself up. A nice variation or modification of the pose is to bring in a big pillow or a block that you can sit on. Okay, so it's more of a supported bridge pose. You can use your arms, bend the elbows at 90 degrees, pressing down into the mat with your elbows and triceps. And see if that helps to open and maybe lift the upper body a little bit more. Again, we're looking for greater opening potentially in the body, loosening up any of those tight spaces. Take 2 more breaths. After the second breath, just wiggle the feet forward a little bit. You might extend your arms straight up into the air, making space so you can slowly roll back down to the ground. Let's do an extension here. So you might extend the legs out front, straight legs, and even reach your arms behind you, reaching in these opposite directions. After that nice stretch, let's hug both knees into chest, rocking forward and back, producing a good exhale so you can rock your way up to seated when we come to boat pose. We're going to do 2 versions of boat pose. So maybe your first boat pose is maybe just your typical way that you like to initially get into boat pose. I typically keep my knees bent. I'll hold on to my legs. I flex my feet. Nice extended spine. Of course, you're at an angle here. So whatever your initial boat pose is, and just hold that for a couple breaths. Remembering to inhale once again to fill up the lungs. Nice. Exhaling to engage your center so you feel that strength there. All right. Let's go ahead and bring the heels to the floor if your feet are lifted. Bring the hands behind you. And just bend the elbows so you're just kind of leaning back, okay? So bend the elbows, just lean back. You might even step your feet or heels in closer toward yourself and just find the balance so that you can extend both legs up. Maybe point the toes here, okay? So just reaching, lifting, extending. Do another variation of boat, okay? Then we're going to bend the knees, bring the heels down. And you might even just cross legs, hands in front to hop back into plank, or even hands to the side here. So you can just step the feet back, returning to plank pose, and just feel the re-extension of the entire body. Go ahead and take a shortcut to down dog. Bend your knees, hips into the air. Now inhale, extend right leg up behind you. And right foot to the top of the mat. Let's go back to warrior 1. Left heel turns to the floor, grounded. Extended spine. Inhale, rising when you're ready. And an exhale so we can open to a warrior 2. Good, yeah, just make some adjustments. You might take the feet a bit wider, lunging a little deeper. Long torso, and of course your extended arms. Right into our side angle pose, reaching forward, out over the right leg here. Angled upper body, rotating the arms, good. Reaching down, reaching up. Feeling free to stay up high in the pose, which is what I typically do, but of course you can go much lower. Hand might touch the floor or bring in a block. Another name for this pose is extended side angle pose. Let's take advantage of that name and really reach this left hand over your head like you're reaching for the front of the room. Nice. And feel what happens down through the left side of your body. Let's breathe in. And then exhale so we can turn, fold, hands to the mat, step back, plank pose, straight line. Another shortcut to downward facing dog. Arriving here, make those adjustments. When you're set, inhale, yes, extend left leg up and back, reach. Exhale, stepping through. Good hip work, really, to make that transition. So left foot lands, right heel turns to the floor, extended spine, inhale, rising, warrior one. As our exhale, opening into warrior two. Settling in, make those adjustments. Nice. Active arms, hands, and fingers as you reach. Then follow the left hand forward, angled upper body. There it is. Rotating, reaching high, reaching low. Nice opening through that whole front side of the body. Kind of the chest area, down in the hips. And that extended side angle pose, just reaching a bit more over your head with the right hand as you're able. Now you can even bend that elbow if you needed to, so the arm doesn't have to be absolutely straight. And then, of course, noticing, feeling what's happening down through the right side of your body. Excellent. Let's take a breath in. And exhale, we'll turn, fold, make our way down. Hands to the mat, slide left foot back to meet the other. Either another shortcut to down dog or chaturanga dandasana as you'd like. Inhale to an upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Just pause there for a couple seconds. We'll take a nice full breath in. Exhale, walk, step, or hop, both feet up to the top of the mat to a forward fold. Nice complete release there. Weight shift into the heels, bend your knees. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Coming up, reaching high. There's our stretch. Exhale, let's bring the arms down by your side this time. Good, then you might want to even just shake all that out. Into the neck, your shoulders, and all the way down the body as you'd like. Even down to the feet. So I'm going to take tree pose. Tree pose, of course, is a balancing position. We're going to transition into another balancing pose after that. So let's start with standing nice and tall and firm, grounded, and balanced on 2 feet. Maybe a little softness in the knees. And start shifting weight gradually over to your right foot, root down into the floor. Feel tall, lengthened spine as breath rises, our core engagement. Then that left foot can lift, maybe thigh comes to parallel. We'll swing the knee out at an angle or even out to the side of the room, whatever reaches. And then foot to the inner leg. It could be to inner thigh here or down lower. And inhale to take the arms out and up perhaps, or just shoot them straight up. Different arm postures are available. You reach straight up, out at a V, a little bend in the elbow. Just as long as you feel tall, lifted, light. You can feel and hear the breath. Your focus is forward, maybe slightly downward. So we're going to see if we can maintain the balance. Let's keep the arms as they are. Swing this left knee forward. Lift the knee so the thigh is parallel to the floor. And then flex the foot kick. And the kick can be down low. It doesn't have to be high. Just a straight leg, straight as can be, even if the leg is low. Push through the heel. And if you can't reach or lift a little higher upper body, slowly as you can, let's bring this foot to the floor. Arms down by your side. Feel how the body transitions from all that action to release. Okay? So 2 balancing acts right there. And then just make your way to mountain pose, returning here, our home base. A breath, balanced, soft knees. And then your gradual shift to left foot, press into the floor, feel tall and lifted. Core engagement with that exhale. Right foot can just float away, thigh parallel. Swing it open, it's a nice hip opener there. And placing the foot on the inside of your standing leg. The arms can reach up into the sky. Once they're up, go ahead and activate and lift yourself up a little higher. You'll automatically experience, it might be subtle, but the torso lifting up out of the pelvis a bit. Everything's nice and square, facing forward. Good, nice drishti or focus forward. Let's keep the arms extended. We'll swing the right knee forward, lifting knee with the flexed foot, and then kick. Pushing through the heel at an angle's fine. If it can lift higher, that's fine, but not necessary. Okay? And then reach, lift up. You want to feel like you're flush up against a wall. Just be aware if you're leaning backward. Okay? And then we're going to slowly lower the foot down. Once it's landed, we'll bring the arms down, balanced on 2 feet, and that nice release. All the way down the body. Good job. Yep, all the way down through the toes. Good. And then again, just making your way to mountain pose so we can prepare for our next flow. Here we go. Inhale, sweeping arms out and up. Exhale, let's take chair pose again. Weight shift back into the hips and heels, reaching out through the arms as you inhale, ready to flow. Exhale, diving forward. Back down towards toes. Let's inhale, extend through spine. Exhale, fold and bend, hands to the floor, walk, step, or hop, both feet back, plank pose. Come down if you'd like, finishing the push-up, chaturanga. In your style, inhale, upward facing dog, good. And exhale, downward facing dog. All right, let's inhale, extend right leg into the air, reach. Okay, and right foot to the top of the mat. We're going to a high lunge this time. So as you step forward, you'll land. Left heel will stay lifted, which means all 10 toes will be pointing forward. Finding the balance between the feet so you can hinge from hips, rise up. Good reaching high like you did in that tree pose, but then lunge. And then hug to center to activate greater stability. Hold here for a couple of seconds, our high lunge position. Okay, then we're going to lift or rise up to straighten the legs a bit so we can pivot or turn left heel to the floor. You'll turn sideways and bring the arms to parallel. Legs are straight here. So we're going to move right into triangle. So reach out over the right leg that's straight and then rotate the arms there. So another extended posture, extended triangle pose. Get that nice extension through the front leg, of course. You might just feel this through the side of the body. Left hand reaching up into the air. To come out of the pose, we're going to bend the right knee into a lunge. Let's come back up to a warrior two. Let's reverse the warrior by taking right hand up into the air. A couple breaths here just to get some lengthening and some spaciousness really through the right side of the body after being in triangle. And then we'll windmill so we can bring both hands to the floor in front. Step back, plank pose. Feel free to take a shortcut to down dog, even a partial push-up to down dog, or all the way through your vinyasa to get to downward facing dog. And we'll repeat that on the other side. When you're ready to flow, inhale, extend left leg up, reach strong and straight. Your exhale to step through, left foot to the top of the mat, high lunge. Right heel stays lifted, all 10 toes are forward. Shifting weight back so hands are light, you'll easily just float. You'll hinge up with ease, rising, reaching into the air. Reaching high, lunging low, hug to center. That's your arms, that's your belly, and then the inner legs, maybe thighs. Focus is forward or slightly downward. And then we'll lift up, straightening the legs a bit, pivot right heel to the floor, arms come to parallel, legs are straight, our prep for triangle, and then we move right into triangle, at reaching forward, rotating the arms. I typically start at bringing my hand to my knee or thigh. I typically stay like this. You can certainly go a little lower. Just kind of checking in, assessing how you feel, what feels right, where you want to go next. Our extended triangle pose. Coming out of it now, let's bend the left knee for a nice lunge and leverage so we can come back up through a warrior two, reversing the warrior so you can take your left hand into the air, maybe straight up. It can even be somewhat forward, or kind of put that bend in the body where you're reaching somewhat behind you. Again, just assessing what feels right on this side at this moment. And then a big windmill so we can come out of the pose, bringing the hands down to the floor in front. We'll step back into plank pose. Again, a shortcut or some variation of a flow of movement to arrive in downward facing dog. Good. Love the variations. You want to take another seat, so you can just bring the knees to the floor, sit back briefly in hero, sit off to the side, swing the legs around to the front. Right here, leaving space out in front so you can extend your legs. Let's take staff pose. We're going to do a couple things here, but we're going to start with staff. So straight legs, straight as can be. Flexed feet, that'll keep the legs activated. Hands on the floor by your hips here. Pushing into the ground just to assist your own spinal extension. So we get this nice L shape in the body, very active. Check in with shoulders. I'm just noticing This feels relaxed. My shoulders are dipping forward. We're going to roll them back. A little squeeze of the shoulder blades just to keep that activation. Another breath or two here, staff pose. Okay, then soften a little bit. We're going to take Janu Shirshasana. So that's the head to knee pose. We're going to keep the right leg straight, bend the left knee, bring the foot to the inner leg, kind of like tree pose. Okay, maybe adjust your seat, sitting up nice and tall. Again, the hands on the floor to help you extend the spine, nice and tall. And then an inhale to reach up into the air. Exhale, hinge forward just a little bit to begin. And then just lower your hands. Your hands might come to the floor, your shin, ankle, toes, all correct. So just wherever feels quite right at the moment. And at first, as you're hinging forward, see if you can work with a well-extended spine, straight and long as possible. But then as you kind of get into the pose, you can bend the right knee a little or a lot, even round your back, lower your head, which all of those things might allow you to go a little deeper into the pose. Deep meaning you just want to have a little bit more sensation, creating the stretch quality in the hamstring that you desire at this moment, even through your back if your back happens to be rounded. And always coming back to that foundational part of yoga, breath. So nice extension here. Let's take 3 more breaths. Again, Janu Shirshasana, or head to knee pose. If your back is rounded, if your chin is lower, just lift your chin so maybe you're looking kind of out in front of you. That will start the re-extension of your spine. Maybe hands on the floor to help assist yourself to sit back up nice and tall right there. Okay, let's re-extend the left leg. Let's come back to staff pose for a moment, just for a realignment through the body. A breath or two here, and we'll do the other side. So more action in the body. And then a softening, and then the other side. So left leg will stay straight. We'll bend the right knee, bring the foot in. Now if the knee doesn't touch the floor, if you happen to have a block or a pillow, just tuck it underneath that knee. Okay? All right, hands on the floor just to help you extend spine. Again, you're trying to get the torso, to lift out of the pelvis a bit so we have some room to fold. And we'll inhale, reach into the sky, get that little extra lift. Exhale, start to hinge, even just a tiny bit, not too much. Lower your hands to the floor, knee, shin, ankle, toes, whatever you can reach initially. Notice what you feel initially as well, because maybe this is the end of the pose. Like, this feels good, I'll just stay here. Because you certainly don't have to force yourself to go deeper or think that you have to go any further than this. You can always bend the left knee a little bit or a lot. Lower your chin, round your spine. That might provide or create more room, right? So you can go a little deeper. But again, not forcing the body. We're really trying, we do all these, awkward and odd poses, things that are not really typical in our regular daily activities. But we're doing them in a way where we can maintain a sense of calmness too. Three more breaths. If your chin is lowered, your back is rounded, just lift your chin, just look out past the left foot, starting to re-extend the spine. Hands on the floor to assist yourself to sit back up, nice and tall. Let's re-extend the right leg. Staff pose for a moment, activate. We're going to go back to that second version of boat that we did earlier. So maybe step the hands back a little bit more, lean back, let the elbows bend, drag the heels in by bending the knees. Okay, finding that balance, and when we lean back more, so you can, extend both legs up into the air, point the toes. Couple breaths here. Start to lower, cross legs, pushing yourself forward, maybe catching yourself in your hands in front to hop or step back into plank pose, or hands to the side so you can just swing the feet back behind you. If you'd like, Chaturanga Dandasana right here, creating a back bend after all those forward folds. And exhale, downward facing dog. And again, bent knees so you can really feel the hips lift, get longer, hands press firmly into the ground. Okay, one more quick rest by bringing knees to the floor, sit back into hero. If you can hold hero for a moment. Let me just show you quickly what we're going to do next. You can use one or two blocks. Two might come in handy. I'm going to use just one block because that's just all I have at the moment. So let me show you what we're going to do here. I'm going to take my right leg up into the sky, right foot to the top of the mat to a lunge, but then shift my weight forward. Even use this block eventually. I'm going to turn it lower at first. Shifting my weight forward until there's more weight in this front foot so that left leg or foot can lift, and just let it float into the air. Okay? You can even use the block just to give you a little bit more height because you want to extend the spine. So I'm just extending, really trying to go forward, and then taking this to what I'm going to call kind of a mock standing splits, just bringing the head down as if you're bringing your head towards your shin while left leg extends into the air. It's modified because we're keeping the hands on the floor or use that block. There's certainly more to this pose, but we're going to keep it like this. Okay? And then to get out of it, we're actually going to step back into a lunge. Okay? So we start in the lunge, go into the balance, and then step back into the lunge. Okay? So let's go ahead and try that. So if you have a block or two to stack, bring those out front, and then return to a downward facing dog. Here we go. We'll inhale, extend right leg up. Good extension. Exhale, right foot to the top of the mat, landing there for our runner's lunge. And then just start walking the hands forward. Maybe step them right up onto the block there until you've got enough weight in the right foot, where the left foot just floats into the air. Just imagine it was like filled with helium and it just floats away. And then maybe using the block or whatever you have there to help you extend the spine, really long torso, making space. And then, like I said, when you extend the torso like that, it provides space in the waistline. So you might be able to tip the chest lower, maybe a little bit, and the left leg can lift a little bit higher. And that'll be your standing splits. Okay, so hands can be on the floor or your stacked blocks, whatever you're using. Okay, then now soften, especially bending that right knee. The left foot will come back down behind you into that lunge. Land on the toes. Let's go ahead and take high lunge. So rise up, reaching, both arms up into the air right here. We'll just finish the series. We'll shoot straight up, straightening the legs. Pivot, open, prepped for triangle. Let's take triangle, reach out, rotate right there. Excellent, nice opening, feel that. Okay, bend the right knee, a little bit of a lunge, reverse your warrior. So right hand comes up, right up into the air, and then we'll windmill, hands to the floor, and just step all the way back into down dog, both feet on the floor. Hips in the air, feel that nice realignment. Long spine. And let's do that same sequence other side. So our standing split. So inhale, extending left leg into the air, and exhale, left foot steps through. Right heel stays lifted, right, and then start stepping the hands forward a little bit out onto the block. So the right foot, filled with helium, just floats into the air. Use the stacked blocks to help extend spine, making more space in the waistline, so that perhaps you can tip, I call it tip the scale, so your heart and head might go down a little bit lower while the right leg floats a little bit higher into the sky. Excellent. Then go ahead and soften so we can bring that right foot back down behind you into the lunge. Find the balance so you can rise to the high lunge, so upper body lifts, arms into the air. Once you're tall, just shoot straight up, straighten the legs, pivot, open, arms to parallel, prepped for triangle, take triangle. Reach out, rotate. Just a couple breaths here just to feel that great expansion, opening. Bend the left knee into a lunge. Come up, pass through your warrior two to reverse your warrior. reaching left hand into the air, keeping it flowing. We're going to windmill, bring the hands to the floor. Once again, to step all the way back into down dog, both feet on the floor. Nice. All right. Inhale, extend right leg into the sky. New pose. Bend and twist. So bend the knee, bring the heel down towards your backside. A little lift of the knee. Yeah, so you get a nice hip opener there. We're going to pigeon pose. So right knee will come to the floor behind right wrist. Angled leg. Left knee comes down to the floor. Crawl that left leg back. Settling in. Of course, you can certainly do this on your back and do that reclining pigeon version if you want. If you happen to be in this variation of the posture, it is a nice hip opener, especially on that right side, but we're thinking about the extension of the left leg as well. So getting some space creation in that hip flexor, because that's certainly an area of the body, I know for me, can get pretty tight and bound up, especially if you find yourself sitting quite a bit, or if you're, even if you're an athlete, you run or cycle, things like that. So just to give this, take the opportunity to lengthen and hold that stretch, to release any tension in that space. Very good. Let's take 3 more breaths. After the 3rd breath, take your time, move in slow motion. You're just going to kind of lift the upper body a little bit, just to come up onto the hands. You don't have to come up all the way. As you're going to sit off to the right side, enough where you can swing this left leg around to the front, adjust your seat. You're just going to come to the preparation for Janu Shirshasana. So the right foot will be on the inner left leg. Maybe extend spine using the hand press into the floor. We'll inhale, take the arms up, exhale, fold. We'll hold for a little bit, not as long as the first time, but a little bit of a pause here to get that nice stretch. Okay. Then we're going to rise back up, get nice and tall here. Just bring the hands behind you. Lean back, bend the elbows. Okay, you're going to lift this right knee, bend the left knee. So we're going to go back to that leg extension, both legs. Now, this is actually a kind of a combination of 2 poses, and we're doing a variation of a pose. Now, it's kind of like boat pose because we have the legs up, but it's also like a seated forward fold. And so I'm going to forget the true name of this posture. If we were doing the full variation of the pose, it's actually an upward facing seated forward fold. Okay, let's bend the knees, cross legs, hands in front or to the side, so you can re-extend legs back behind you in plank. Finish a full sequence there, or just a shortcut to down dog, either one. Okay, so that's a bit of a sequence there, starting with pigeon pose. So when you're ready, an inhale to extend left leg into the sky. Let's open this up with a bend of the knee, heel comes down towards backside, a little lift of the knee. Next exhale, let's bring that left knee carefully to the front, landing lightly behind left wrist, an angled leg. Right knee will come down to the floor. Use the right knee and toes to help crawl back. Just find, you don't have to go all the way down. You might just find a nice spot that just feels comfortable and good. Again, lying on your back and doing that variation is absolutely a nice option. Wherever you are, just tap into breath. Come back to that nice foundation of the practice. Just allow it to do its work. Hoping to create space. Perhaps even new openings within you. Tapping into parts that maybe you never knew you had access to. 3 more breaths. Take your time. When you're ready, moving in slow motion, a little bit of a lift up onto the hands. So you can sit off to the left side. Swing the right leg around to the front. Janu Shirshasana, head to knee pose. Adjust your seat. Right leg extends, left knee is bent. Assist your spinal extension. And inhale to reach into the air. Exhale, fold. So a nice way to work the leg, so this was the right leg in pigeon pose, so the leg was behind us, kind of stretching the front portion. Now the forward fold here to get the back side of the leg. Okay, let's go ahead and rise back up. Hands behind you, bend the elbows, lean. We'll lift that left knee, bend the right knee. Situate yourself so we can get to our leg extension here. And while we're here, since we've been here a few times, just add a little extra if you're able. So we're really leaning back, at least I'm really leaning back so I can get the legs up. But if you kind of straighten the arms a little bit, like you're lifting your chest or head up, like you're trying to go up toward your toes. Okay, let's bend the knees, cross the legs, perhaps hands in front, hop or step back, plank pose. Any variation of a flow to finish the sequence. Meeting in downward facing dog. Take a nice full breath in. Exhale, walk, step, or hop both feet up to the top of the mat to a forward fold. Inhale, lengthening through the spine. Exhale, refold. A weight shift into the heels, bend your knees. Inhale, reverse swan dive, come on up. Reaching high. Exhale, arms down by your side. Very nice. Alrighty, I think we've got all the components we need to put a sequence together. So this is how it'll start. So be sure you've got a block or two up front, like you had earlier, because we are going to be doing that standing splits again, okay? But it'll start with the leg extension we did a little earlier. Let me show you how we'll do that. Okay, we're going to start with, just watch me. I'm going to take my arms out and up, just get lengthened, arms down, hands to hips, right here. I'm shifting weight into my right foot, lifting the left foot, thigh parallel, and doing another kick, okay? And maybe you'll experiment by lifting higher, okay? Just and seeing if we can keep the back flush up against your imaginary wall. And then we'll rebend. As it bends, we're going to extend the arms up into the air and bend the right knee a bit so we can hinge and step back into a high lunge. And I'll carry you from there, okay? Only difference here is that instead of doing the reversed warrior, we're going to turn and come down here to a pyramid and then move into our standing splits. Okay? I'll guide you through. So we'll start in mountain pose. A couple breaths, balanced on 2 feet. Starts with just an arm gesturing. So we're going to inhale, sweep the arms into the air, extended mountain pose. Exhale, bring the arms down and to your hips. And what you're doing here is actually pushing pelvis down and trying to get a little taller. Yeah. Okay. A little softness in the knees, send weight into the right foot. Let's pick up the left foot, bending the knee, thigh parallel, and then a kick. It could be at an angle. You might even try to kick up a little higher, being sure you still feel tall. That's why the hands are here, pushing pelvis down so you can feel like you're lifting upper body. As we bend the left knee, let's sweep the arms up into the air. Bend the right knee a little so we have some space to hinge. As you extend left leg back, lower yourself down onto your toes, high lunge, nice and tall. Shoot straight up, pivot, open, prepped for triangle. Take triangle, reach out, there you go. Rotate the arms. Nice opening there. Should feel quite familiar. Something new here. We're going to turn torso towards this front leg, lower ourselves down so we're about parallel to the floor, reach both arms out behind you for pyramid, but not here long. What we'll do is just bend the right knee a whole lot, bring the hands forward out to the block or blocks, send the weight forward so the left leg will just float right up into the air. Remember, try to extend the spine, getting long through the torso. Extend that leg back behind you and then tip.
tip the scale. Maybe the head can go down a little bit more while left leg reaches a little higher. Okay, we're going to step back into the lunge. Rise up, follow me. This is something a little bit new, okay? We're going to rise up here, fold, bring hands to the floor. You're going to slide right foot back and up into the air, into down dog, right leg lifted. Bend and twist, little hip opener, pigeon. Right knee comes to the floor, angled leg. Left knee comes down, crawl left leg back. You can even lower your body into this posture if you want. We're not going to be here too long. Maybe 3 good solid breaths here, getting that leg extension, that left leg, hip opener on the right side. Okay, we're going to rise back up. So hands in front, rising back up a little bit, sitting off to the right side. Swing the left leg around to the front for our head to knee pose. Extend the arms into the air, fold. Just enough to get into the stretch. You might find, because we've been here several times, you can go a little lower, a little deeper. Again, not forcing it, but we're coming right up out of it. Okay, rising up, hands behind you, lean back. Let's lift that right knee, bend the left knee. Let's take our leg extension. Try to lift up towards toes. Okay, and then cross legs, hands in front. Hopper step back, plank pose, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. That's our sequence. Jump, step, or walk, both feet up to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, extend spine. Exhale, fold here. Weight shift into the heels, bend your knees. Inhale, reverse swan dive. We're going right into the other side. So reach high. As you exhale, bring your hands to your hips. We're going to push pelvis down, get nice and tall. Shifting weight into left foot now. Right foot lifts here, thigh parallel to the floor. Make sure you feel well extended through the spine. Little kick, pushing through the heel. Leg can be at an angle, maybe parallel to the floor. As we bend the knee, extend the arms into the sky. Bend the left knee a little so we have some space to hinge. Extend right leg back. Lower yourself onto the toes behind you. High lunge. Lift, straighten the legs, pivot, open, prep for triangle, triangle pose. I'm even noticing I'm going a little lower and deeper. Alrighty, we're turning the torso towards this front leg, coming down to parallel to the ground as you reach the arms behind you. Briefly in pyramid. Let's bend the left knee, hands out in front to the floor so we can launch ourselves forward to standing splits prep. Okay, so lift that right leg. Use those blocks to help you extend spine, just getting the space you needed between really your torso and your leg. And then tip the scale. Soften so we can step back into that lunge. Right set of toes onto the floor behind you. Return to the high lunge. Just a lift, just to reopen. Okay, inhale there. Exhale, hinge and fold. Hands come to the floor. Step back, down dog. Swipe or sweep the left foot back and up into the air. Bend and twist. Pigeon. So left knee to the floor behind left wrist. Angled leg. Crawl that right leg back. You can go low for that version of pigeon. I'm going to take a king pigeon where I lift the upper body more like a back bend, just to get a little bit more into that right hip flexor. Just 2 more breaths. Rising back up if you're low, hands in front, just high enough so you can sit off to the left side. We'll swing the right leg around to the front, prepped for your Janu Shirshasana. Nice and tall, reaching into the air, both arms. Exhale, fold. Getting to that nice stretch. Ooh, maybe going a little lower. Yes. Noticing all these new openings. Okay, we're rising back up. Hands behind you, lean back. Let's lift the left knee, bend the right knee. Find that balance, extend the legs. Reach, lift up towards those toes. Okay, let's bring the heels to the floor.
Okay? Let's do a bonus pose. It's actually the same pose we just came out of. I haven't done this in a long time. But this is one way I remember teaching this pose. So imagine, okay, boat pose, okay? We know boat pose, and even the full version of boat, legs extended, arms extended, so you have a nice V shape. So that's boat. And we also know forward fold, okay? Where maybe you're low enough where the hands can come out to the feet. Now imagine this pose this way. Okay, that's what we're attempting, okay? Is sitting with your legs up in the air and you have your arms kind of wrapped around or even up to the toes. We can all do that, right? It's very easy. So here's one way you can get into the posture, just finding balance and leaning back. You can just go ahead and do this with me if you like. And basically, if you can, you're kind of getting those arms hooked underneath you, okay? Can you see I'm just giving myself a hug around the knees. I'm almost hand to elbow, okay? And just hugging my chest in towards my knees. This is where the balance comes in. Okay? As you hug the knees in towards chest, you can start to extend the legs. This is one way of getting into the pose. Now the legs may not go absolutely straight, and you might even roll backward. I can already feel myself rolling, trying to roll backward. This is one way to, yes, get into this pose. Wow. Okay, let's slowly bend so we can get out of that posture. Whew. Good job. Okay, and then go ahead and roll down onto your back, knees in, massage. Breath. Any movement here. So here you're welcome to move into a variety of poses as we come to closure. So maybe a hip opener like happy baby pose or reclining cobbler's pose. I'll just throw out some postures you can do. You can do any of them, all of them, none of them. Just do what feels right for you. After your hip opener, you might even throw in an inverted pose. Since we did some extensions. You might do shoulder stand if you like, or just legs in the air or legs up against a wall. Maybe your finishing pose, your last movement might be a twist. Okay. Or even just a stretch. Just want to lay on the floor, just extend the legs out front, reach behind you, lengthen. Little side bends. This is your nice opportunity to really pay attention and listen to your body, assess what it's needing, what it's saying perhaps to you. Listen and respond appropriately. And that's certainly a way of extending our extensions, opening ourselves up so we can really hear those quiet parts of self. Whenever you feel complete with your ending movements, you might find your way back to lying down, legs out front, arms resting down by your side as you settle into Shavasana. And of course, you have other options. You can lie on your side. You even come to a seated position. Use props to help support your body wherever you are. Once you've found that space to settle into, find stillness, find that quiet. Stay right where you are. Just continue to notice your breath. As you remain in stillness, return to the awareness of your breath, this time taking 5 slow, steady breaths. And as you're able, just feeling this energetic breath move into these newly opened spaces you created in your extension class. Beginning to feel movement gently return to your body. And as it gradually returns, you might carefully roll onto either side of your body. If you'd like, you can still remain on your back. And while moving in slow motion, start to guide your way up to seated. No subtle movements, taking your time. As you're sitting tall, just feel that re-extension of your spine. And then just one more movement together. We'll inhale, extend the arms out and up. A nice lifting feeling there. Exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Taking one more breath. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste.